You're doing the original setup, and you know the company name is Krustaceans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just checking.
Station Seafood.
Just wanted to make sure. Our intros usually takes us a couple of months.
You want to put your water in your cup? Sure.
Yeah. We don't want people to really know what we're drinking. We want them to say this is what you get at Krustaceans.
Exactly. Just water in a fancy cup.
All right.
Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1. What up and welcome to the Keeping It Loco podcast. I'm Justin Ortiz.
I'm Pam Thunder.
That's Pam Thunder. And we're here with Marcus Lucas, an entrepreneur, former athlete. He's the owner of Krustaceans Seafood.
Right above us.
Right above us, yeah. So he has an amazing restaurant here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so we just want to get some background information on him, what he does, and let's start there. So talk to me about how you got started and who you are.
Well, first,
where it got started, right?
Yeah. Well, first off, I'll say thanks for both of y'all for having me on. I'm happy to be here. Krustaceans Seafood, it was concepted back in 2020, right in the midst of the pandemic.
Those are good business ideas during the pandemic.
it was starting, but kind of before. The summer before, there was a lot of planning. Two summers before. So the summer of, I guess, 2018. I can't pronounce right now. But in the summer of 2018, I met my business partner. I went to a restaurant that was in Kansas City, Missouri. I really enjoyed it, and I just wanted to talk to the manager and see, like, hey, is there something like this I could do? I could, duplicate in Charlotte. I'm from Charlotte. And he was like, what, you're from Charlotte? I'm from Charlotte. I live in Charlotte. I'm like, not putting two and together. He's like, I'm an owner here. I just come quarterly. So it was really just like, a thing from God, honestly. It was just like we're in the right place in the right time.
Yeah.
A year later, he calls me back and asks if I'm still interested in the business, and he told me that he was interested in opening one in Charlotte, and then I jumped at the opportunity. We had a couple meetings, and almost 2 years later, now we open.
Now, what's interesting is that it's a low country broil. So to your point, you went to your hometown, right?
Yep.
But I knew this concept is from here.
From here, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny how you travel, you find the place, and then the guy's like, no, I'm from Charlotte.
Exactly.
This is where it got started. So what's interesting is a lot of people don't know that it's a low country broil because it says, seafood and stuff, but a lot of times people don't know. By the way, I've tasted the food. It's amazing. Marcus did screw up today because we don't have food. I'm a little hungry. My stomach will be growling through this podcast for sure, but I assure you the food is amazing. But we'll get into why it's closed on Monday anyway, right? So the second part of it too is it got started. I asked for reservations. That's the first time that I came to it, right?
Yep.
And I brought a group of people, and we had an amazing time. I think the other thing, just as a consumer, is you actually have drinks and stuff here too. So
exactly.
What did you make me?
Oh, I think I made you a Swamp King. It's
good.
one of our more popular mixed drinks. It's a daiquiri that comes with like a berry chambord. It's a margarita, a hurricane, and a melon liqueur as well.
I'm pretty sure that's why my face was all red afterwards.
Exactly. So it's really good, a little sweet, but it's really good. It was like one of my favorite drinks for a little while. We wanted to give the New Orleans Cajun type theme to have the daiquiris go with the seafood.
Yeah,
it's something that you can't get everywhere. Yeah. And that's what the experience that we want to give here at Krustaceans.
So at Krustaceans, you can dine in.
Yep.
You can carry out. It's actually in a big business community. So if you're a business owner, this is a local business owner, make sure you come and you kind of taste the food. We'll actually talk about the desserts in a bit, maybe, because they got a dessert line that they've got going too. But this is why we're doing this podcast, right, Justin?
Absolutely. So what I want to do is I want to kind of go back a little bit into why you decided to become an entrepreneur, because you were with the Carolina Panthers playing in the NFL. He did play for the Cowboys too.
That was the last team I played with. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I did.
Cowboys are my team. So just talk to us about the process of you getting to the NFL and then making the transition from the NFL to in entrepreneurship or to this restaurant?
Sure.
Yeah.
I went to school for business. I got my business degree, and I always knew I wanted to be a business owner in some capacity.
Yeah.
Didn't know what that was going to look like,
Yeah.
but I just kept going through my career. Obviously, I wanted to make the most of that as well, with football and things like that. But at the same time, getting through the middle of my career, towards the end, that kind of thing, knew I needed to find another outlet, knew I needed to, have something to transition into. And that's what happened whenever, like I said, 2018, going into 2019, I was, approached with a business opportunity, got to review financials and, go through that whole process. And I decided that, this is something I'm going to do alongside with still playing.
Right.
I was kind of looking to be in kind of like the backseat in a phantom kind of role, to where I could
silent partner.
Exactly.
But eat the food.
But eat the food. Exactly. Have somewhere to come whenever I'm off seasons, come help and things like that. But then the pandemic happened. I ended up transitioning into the XFL, and that got shut down after half of a season due to the pandemic, and had this restaurant brewing, that whole time. And so I decided to jump all in and learn everything about the restaurant industry. I made, with my partners, after 6 months, I was the GM of the place, like just really learning about the business, the ins and outs, whether it's, scheduling, ordering, inventory, customer service, interaction with that, learning just the ins and outs, even fixing the HVAC in some areas, getting on the roof and figuring that stuff out.
Hold on a second. We might want to pause a minute because nobody wants Marcus to tell his wife that he's handy, because then he's screwed at home.
Exactly. This is very true. And I have gotten in trouble for coming here and cleaning and doing things like that and not cleaning at home. So I will throw myself under the bus. Exactly.
Because Nicole is nothing to mess with.
She's not. But yeah, so I really just immersed myself in and just getting the knowledge of understanding what it takes to run a business. And I got to do it. I think there's no better way than just, getting out there and doing it yourself. I mean, you can read every book you want to, but to get the experience or YouTube it, right? But without having the hands-on experience, you can't truly learn, the ins and outs.
Well, it's interesting because, restaurants are kind of notoriously known as, first of all, long hours, sometimes high overhead, sometimes, if there's one bad review, kind of screw with the restaurant. So, with those challenges in mind, you still wanted to get into. Why don't you just tell us why?
Honestly, the opportunity was big. I mean, I'm a firm believer in my faith, and the opportunity just it was something that was placed on me, and something I prayed about, and I got that confirmation, like, this is going to be a good thing for you. And I thought that it was a stepping stone. I didn't know, like I said, I knew I wanted to be a business owner in some facet. Didn't know exactly what that was going to be or what it was going to look like, because I was so focused on football still. And then to be able to do something kind of at the same time in congruency with playing, and it had, with experienced partners, that was the big thing too, is like I could learn, while I was kind of putting it into play. It's like I had the capital, so it was like, that was the main thing I was contributing, but then the experience came along with it.
So it's passive income first, and then it was generating experience, because in the future, if there's an opportunity that comes, you're not going to be as fearful of it, because you're grounded.
I know what I'm looking for.
I know, exactly.
That's awesome.
So I think, just a kind of quick question, let's just put out where you're at, because a lot of people see your name, hear about you, because I know that every time I bring your name up, people know about you. They don't know where it's really located. So
so where we are, we're in the I guess Southwest Charlotte area towards the airport. We're in the, I think it's called Oak Lake Point is the name of this little subdivision. There's a couple hotels here near the old Coliseum. But it's a heavy, like you said, business area, and that's one of the reasons why we chose this location, is because we are a destination location. It's when people type in, the SEOs and things like that, they're looking for good seafood. I mean, we have a 4.7, 4.8 star reviews. I mean, over 1,000 reviews, things like that. So we're pretty high in the rankings whenever it comes to that. But we knew that people would come for dinner time,
Right.
and on the weekends.
Right.
But we wanted to come somewhere where they had a business park to where we could get that lunch crowd.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult sometimes for seafood restaurants in particular to have a lunch crowd, because
Right,
you're
right.
thinking big seafood boils, especially, you want to eat hearty and then go home and go to sleep, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, with some of our fried items, our fast casual items, things like that, we knew that there was opportunity for sandwiches, different things like that quick bites for people to get on their lunch. And so that's why we decided
And
to
you
come
mentioned to me before our production manager got here that you also do a family style. So even for businesses, if you want to feed your employees or if you want to host an event there, they actually have everything kind of put together to where all you can do is carry it out. Marcus says if he's available, he might deliver it for you. So
I can do that.
I mean, he won't sign anything for you, by the way.
That is not true. I will just tell you that it will devalue whatever good that you are looking to get.
But to the point is, he is a business owner and he is willing to help the business owners in the area, enjoy a meal with their employees, because their employees are going to come back because the food is amazing.
Exactly.
And we'll make sure we get some pictures of the food so that you guys can kind of see the food. But he is right; it's great reviews. An amazing experience. And I like the cool part is you can kind of go order your food.
Yep.
You sit down and get talking, so you're not sitting there waiting. Even when you have kids and stuff, like, oh my gosh, when's my food getting here? You already ordered it.
Yep.
You're sitting down and they're bringing it, and you're still having the family time.
That's it.
So I really kind of appreciate that too.
Yeah.
So did you want to talk about the challenges?
Yeah, sure. So talk to me about, we kind of talked a little bit about some of the challenges with the
some
pandemic.
of it, but
if you got a
there's
story
another
about some form of adversity that you've had with the business or just in general in life, and that you had to get through it, because everybody that wants to start a business, they have to know that they're going to go through certain things.
Sure.
Well, and he does have one big challenge right now.
Understand.
Employees.
That's very true. So, I mean, the whole kind of process, when we got going, things were pretty steady. I mean, we decided to, it was funny. We were, getting to the end of, at the beginning, you're going to get some free rent and things like that. And we were getting to the end where we were coming out of pocket. Things like that were coming along. I mean, there were some real, adversities and stresses, for sure, out the gate. So then we decided, like, okay, it's the pandemic. No one's really going into the office and working and things like that right now. Mm-hmm. So we opened it with our families. Me and my business partners and our families, we decided to open, and we were like, okay, we'll find employees along the way. We had one hire, I think, with the first day that we opened. Mm-hmm. But then, by the end of the month, we had a full staff. So it was just, like I said, it was a leap of faith from the beginning. And we kind of, at one point, we're like, okay, we're burning our boats. We're opening on the 15th, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And we did it. And we had a success. We had a lot of support from the community, from our friends and family. Mm-hmm. And they really helped us, keep us up for those first few months. And it was influx. I mean, we had doors wrapped on the weekends. Door was wrapped around the the line was wrapped around the building and things like that. Mm-hmm. And we came out the gate pretty hot. Yeah. Then, after the first year, I would say, that's whenever we started seeing a lot of the staffing. I think in our first year, we rotated over 70 employees. I mean, this is a 6-man operation, so it's not that many, that many people, but we rotated so many employees in that first year. We've been through 3 managers, in 4 years, just trying to find the right person and things like that. So employment was a huge issue for us.
And that second year too, they started giving credits, because remember in the first year when you talk about the pandemic, everybody just didn't know what was going on. And then the government started giving out some credits to where people were actually making more money potentially
to stay
at home.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, especially in this industry where it's not a top salary position and things like that. You got to work for what you get, and there's tips involved and things like that. So it's not a sexy industry to be in at all the times. And
I keep asking to work here, and I am still getting voted down here. I mean, I'm just like,
you got to put out an app, and we'll get you in. Yeah. I mean, a weekend bartender. I could use that.
Right.
So,
but go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and then there's, the other challenges were inventory and supply chain issues. I mean, I think every business in, the world was impacted by it. And
something that took a week took now 4 weeks.
Exactly. 4 weeks, a couple months, 6 weeks, whatever the case may be. Yeah. I mean, we were trying to get equipment in and things like that, and we couldn't get it because of this special piece is out of stock or whatever the case may be. And so we dealt with that as well. I mean,
Did you
prices,
have some food cost issues?
food cost issues. I mean, that trickled down into the food cost issues. And so everything was messed up at that point. So trying to keep our customers happy, and there's, you know, there's only so much you can move the prices and things like that. I mean, seafood is generally at market price. I mean, you see that, you know, kind of custom around the industry, but we wanted to make sure, I mean, that's a part of our, you know, DNA, is that there's affordable food to people that, you know, that don't normally get the chance to eat this. Absolutely. And so there was times where we were eating, you know, some of those costs because we wanted to continue to be loyal to our customers.
Now, talk to me about, like, so this is a Black-owned company, right? Talk about how the representation of that matters to, like, other young entrepreneurs that are coming up.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my things, is like I wanted to show people that look like me that there's an opportunity for them. We do deal with a lot of African Americans in the community, looking for employment, looking for a change of scene, you know, looking for something different than they kind of know and that they've learned and things like that. So it's just like I wanted to be in here and be a face of, like, you know, your dreams are possible. I mean, don't let anybody dim your light, because you just never know where it's going to end up. And so
that's what Nicole gave to you, right? Because when you guys started your relationship, she said, no, go for it.
That's exactly what
I'm going to hold things back. So,
so
it's really just a paying and forwarding. So even though you're in a marriage with like that, but with Nicole, she said, you know, go forward. Like, I don't want to keep you and limit you. And now with you owning this, what you're saying is to others, to your youth in general, is that, hey, I don't want to limit you either. I want to give you an opportunity to start. You know, I'm willing to invest in you.
That's it.
And build.
And I tell my team, I mean, I just had them in a meeting probably a month or two ago. And basically, like, the most gratifying thing is not, you know, being able to do podcasts or, you know, being in the paper or anything like that, but it's to be able to provide for you guys, like to be able to sign you guys' checks. Like I tell my manager, all my staff, that is like, that is the coolest thing, is like, I'm able to put food, you know, help put food on your table. I'm a part of that, and, you know, to help advance your family and things like that. And you're getting, you know, some of the knowledge and the morals and the culture that we're building in this place, that you can, you know, send it back home and help to permeate the community and things like that, to show positive influence.
I want to interrupt you for that too, because I know that a lot of times you're very humble. I've known him for a while. He's very humble and inspiring. If you have a bad day, you call Marcus, because he will inspire you to be better. But what you've done for your staff as you're talking is you actually, again, we were talking earlier, is I'm sitting here, it's a Monday, by the way, and I actually invited clients here on Tuesday, but they're closed. And you're like, oh, well, that's a shame. It is a shame, because there's people out front, but he told you that there's an employment issue. But here's what he's doing for his staff when he's talking about it. It's not just that. It's the fact that the people that he has, because he wants to make sure that they have 2 days off.
That's it.
So he's got people that he really cares about that work for him. And so he's willing to shut his doors on Monday and Tuesday just to give them 2 days off together to actually take care of their families.
Take care of their families.
So, you know, so I'm very inspired by that, because I'm very driven. And I was like, man, everybody keeps looking in these windows like, hey, is there some food?
That's why we keep looking that way.
Yeah, there's no food.
There's no
food there. But to his point, like, that has to be hard to know that you are losing a little bit of money, but your employees are more important to you. And so I just have to put that out there, because I know that that's not something that you're going to put out there. But, you know, this is why you support business owners. You literally have to go out there. I don't care if it's an extra 10 minutes to drive somewhere to go support a local business owner. It's worth the time and effort to do that. And that's why we're having this podcast. I want you to be a part of the community. I want you to be part of the charity. And if you're making money in this community, you have to invest in this community. And it takes an extra couple of miles. And I'm sorry that you can't buy everything off of Amazon, because you got to support them. But you're doing this. You're doing the community service.
So talk to us about what is your favorite meal here? Like, what's your favorite meal?
It changes. It really does. Right now, we started like Krustaceans. Krustaceans, like the name Krustaceans, it's not spelled like you see it behind me. Like the biological name is with a C instead of a K. But it's basically shellfish. Like that's what it is. You know, crab, lobster tail or lobster, shrimp, that kind of thing. Those are crustaceans. And so that's what we're all about. That's our DNA. At one point we were like, we're not doing anything but, you know, seafood, crustaceans, whatever. But now we decided, okay, let's throw in some other things. So we've started doing like chicken wings, chicken tenders, some things like that.
Didn't you do the lobster roll at one point?
We have a lobster roll. So that was like,
That's good.
so, but going there, I'm like, okay, now one of our things, we already had this, like, we have this red velvet waffle. And like my favorite thing
you
that
told me about that.
exactly, my favorite thing, like when we first opened was a red velvet waffle with a fried lobster tail. Like a lot of people,
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
you can't get that like just anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So that was like the thing.
You
I was
also can't
eating.
get Swamp Thing anywhere either.
Exactly,
Just
that
so
is very true. But it was, you know, that was kind of like my, you know, brunch or lunch or whatever the case may be. When I'm first coming in, I would get that thing 3 times a week, whatever. But now, then it was the lobster roll. When we introduced the lobster roll, we have a cold and a warm. I love the warm one. The cold one's really good, but I just love the warm one. But now I think like getting into our new chicken wings and our new flavors, and we have like this, it's like a lemon pepper garlic parmesan.
I love lemon pepper wings.
And
Yum.
it's they're so good. So right now I would probably say I've been eating more of the wings, and our desserts are off the chain. And like, so
I think this is why I'm hungry, because you were telling me about desserts beforehand.
Yes.
And I'm like, where's the food, Marcus?
And so that's something that we've also been able to do a lot. We get a lot of people who come in and try our desserts and things like that. But another cool thing that we can do to, you know, kind of pay it forward to the community is that we use all local bakers and bakeries and things like that. So, you know, we've partnered with probably 3 or 4 different local bakeries, Black-owned bakers and things like that. And they'll bring their desserts in, and we'll sell them. You know, we'll buy them wholesale from them and things like that. But then we'll sell them here, and, you know, it just gives opportunity for our customers to, you know, experience other people's, you know, baked goods and things like that. So right now we're using a guy, and he's killing it with the cheesecake. So we have like,
you told us about one cheesecake.
Yeah. So right now he like his favorite is like it's like an apple pie filling on a cheesecake. That's my favorite one that he makes right now.
Here?
They're probably gone. Like we get them in weekly, but they sell out. There's another one that's
I
like
could buy one on the way.
the fan favorite right now. He has like a it's a strawberry crunch. So it's like those old school like strawberry bars that you're talking, like crunch bars, like ice cream bar. It tastes just like that, but in cheesecake version.
You got that?
We do, like they sell out. I'm telling you, like people will come in and buy 4 or 5 of them at a time.
Oh my gosh!
And they're gone. Like when as soon as we place the order. So, and we like to get them fresh, and they're, you know, all that thing. But we used to do like these cake bowls. Like we've had all kind of different. We've had cookies, different things from different bakers. So if you're a baker in town and you want to give me a sample plate, you know, look, and Pam, we'll bring Pam and Justin in, and we'll do a sampling. But yeah, we love to feature, you know, local businesses.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. So we talked about the employee issue, and you know, I guess the last question is, it's been how many years now?
4 years in May.
Yeah. So how do you like being a restaurant owner?
Honestly, it has its ups and downs. The time is, you know, the big piece, and, you know, being able to run the business and be in the business, it's kind of different. You know, it's hard to work on the business when you're in the business. Yeah. And now that I'm in a place where I have a great, you know, manager, great system manager and things like that, I'm able to do more things like this, be able to promote the business, to be able to work on, you know, the systems and things like that. That's what I truly love is building systems and, you know, SOPs and things like that. You know, I love that kind of thing because, you know, it just lets me be creative, but it helps me, you know, create impact and, you know, something that can scale. So I do own another restaurant, the same restaurant. It's back in Missouri. So that we'll be at 2 years in May on that one as well. Okay. And then, you know, other business ventures. I mean, I think that now, like I said earlier, this has been a stepping stone for me. So I know how to, you know, the ins and outs of running a business. And now it's just trying to find that passion project that I really want to do. And so got some things in the works. So be in the lookout for that.
Do you plan on opening up another location here in Charlotte?
So right now like I said, we got 1 more year left on our lease here. We're exploring other locations. I mean, we've had some gropes and pains with the building, the infrastructure itself. And we want to, and then also just the location. We want to be, you know, in a more accessible location for, you know, employees, potential customers, things like that.
More
So
foot traffic.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we're looking at exploring other locations.
Right. Well, to your point, when you got during the pandemic, everybody worked from home.
Yeah, that was
So
it.
when you're like, hey, we're going to go in a park and, you know, everybody's working from home. So that's a real struggle.
That was the hard part is like, you know, we picked this location, signed the LOI, all that good stuff, signed the contract.
Because of the traffic.
Because of the traffic here.
For businesses.
It was and that was in 2019, the end of 2019. And then
and
COVID.
2020 is when really everything got started.
And then COVID is when everything, you know, February, March of 2020 is when they shut down everything. So this big business building right here, they had Belk in there. They closed down, so everybody went home. There's no one traveling. We have 2 major hotels right here. No one's traveling, so like all that business that we thought that we were gonna have just disappeared.
Yeah.
So that was an issue in itself, but luckily, like I said, our dinner business does pretty well.
Well, to your point, I mean, it happened, and you're still around 4 years, so that has to say something about the integrity and the faith. And to your point, you know, appreciating your employees.
That's it.
I mean, I know at one point you were one.
I was the general. I've been a little bit of everything in here.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it all because I truly have to. And me as a business owner, I feel like you have to do it. You have to have gone through it to expect people to do it that way.
Yeah.
I had a similar situation with a business of mine. I ordered a photo booth mirror, and
I remember it's in Rush, New York.
Paid a lot of money for it. We got it delivered the 2 days after they shut everything down in that March of 2020. Yep. And so now there's no events happening, no weddings, nothing, and I got this big, huge mirror.
Yeah.
Photo booth. It's just
That's it.
Well, didn't you say you're vain?
What?
Didn't you say you're a little vain anyway? So you just sit there and look at yourself in the mirror for $10,000?
I'm not that big. But I compared it to if you ever watched The Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
He had the bone density scanner, but it was people didn't need it anymore after he bought a whole bunch of them. So I had this big bone density scanner in my house for no reason. So
it's like that, man. I get it. How'd you get through it? Would you sitting up selling it, or did you?
I still have it. Okay. It's been honestly, it's just been sitting. Yeah. You know, it's.
Because he had a transition.
I had a transition, but now, like after a couple of years, it's like, all right, how do I get back into it and get it going? It needs 2 people at least to lift it up and take it to the events. So it's been difficult, especially with all the other businesses that I have going on. Right. That time when I got it was the time. Like I was ready for it at that moment.
You're like, let's go.
Yeah. And
well, if you want to bring it up here, look, we can.
Look, I have part of my happy hour.
Exactly. Yeah.
We were talking happy hours, doing some stuff here too.
So Marcus, talk to me about. Is there anything else that you would like to share? You want the people to know about you, your company?
Yeah, I mean, just know that we're open to doing any kind of network event, any small group. I mean, we can hold about 50 to 60 people in here easily. We have our drinks, we have the good food, and so I would love to partner with any local business, any business really that would like to come host a happy hour, host an event. Right? I know we're about to have. I think
that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think we're
music bingo, a karaoke.
Even
if you don't sing well, you can just be the host of it and watch back and laugh.
Exactly.
And your name's attached to it, and that's branding, right?
Exactly. And so we have an environment that is very laid back. It's a family oriented place. So I think that everybody would enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being a part of the show, the Keeping It Local podcast. I'm Justin Ortiz.
I'm Pam Fender.
And
I'm Marcus Lucas.
And you're the owner of
Krustaceans Seafood.
So come out and support. He's a local entrepreneur, a local business. Come grab some lunch. Come grab some dinner. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe to all of our channels and support us. We're trying to keep it local. We're trying to interview a lot of local businesses. So stay tuned. Thank you.